Church of God, Becky and I joined the CrossFit in Knoxville. The CrossFit was run at the time by these little children. They were in their early 20s and they were beautiful and they looked like movie stars and their little fannies looked like baseballs. And I wanted my fanny to look like a baseball. So I made Church of God Becky join and she'll do whatever I say. So anyway, and I call her Church of God Becky because she was raised Church of God. So sweet, sheltered. Like I have to explain things to her. Things like camel toe. We first get to the CrossFit. And if y'all don't know what CrossFit is, it's military moves like push-ups, pull-ups, burpees. I hate a burpee. Okay, all these things, they would put like a tractor tire in the parking lot and they'd set little Becky in it and I would pull Becky across the parking lot and she was holding her purse. Look at this young boy here. You angel, look at how beautiful you are. How old are you? 29. Did you know where you were coming? You did. Well, you angel, you know I could have birthed you. But anyway, so my middle one, I said, it's your birthday. What do you want? She goes, well, I could use some new prescription glasses. And I said, oh, good. Why don't we get you a flu shot to go with that? Look at all these precious couples here tonight and these men that are darling with button-downs on that have come to see me. Thank y'all. Y'all are hooty-doo, though, people, right? Y'all are. Y'all play golf and tennis, you boys do? Yeah. They're trying to potty train him, and they asked me for advice. I'm not good at that. I never got that. I had 3 children, and I was never good at that. We'd be at a grocery store, and mine would be in either, Superman panties or little princess panties, and doo-doo balls would just fall out. At the grocery store. And I would think, did anybody see that? I don't have anything in my purse to pick it up with. Is some little child gonna think it's a milk dud? Just keep on moving, everybody. Just keep on moving. We were in Alaska, and it was just me and my husband with his coworkers that my kids didn't go that year. And they said, we're gonna go on a float trip in a little airplane to see the glaciers. So we all line up on where this little float plane is in the water, and this little crusty man comes up with a Marlboro Red hanging out of his mouth and says, how much do y'all weigh? And I can tell you right now, I lied through my teeth. And I'd say everybody else did. I think everybody lied. And I thought, this little man doesn't have a good count. This little man doesn't have a good count. We're all going to die up in this plane. When we went to that little Christian school, there was a lot of Air Force fighter pilots there that teach that train people. And they've got on those jumpsuits with those weighted things in the back, and they had those hats on, and everybody had their hair shaved and all that. And so that school had a big thing where it was like Daddy Day, where your dad comes and talks about what they do for a living. And so they had these fighter pilots like, Maverick, coming with this big thing on their head with that thing, and these children were fascinated, and my boy was fascinated, and for a long time wanted to go in the military and was just fascinated by it. My poor husband had to go and talk about installation in the side of mobile homes. But he took a video, and it showed men blowing installation in the side of these houses. And the kids kind of liked that. And then I brought extra candy and threw it at little kids. We were at the McDonald's. I had 2 playing one in the balls and one up in a tube. And my baby child did not have any teeth yet. She was in a high chair. And I threw a cheeseburger onto her high chair. and she gummed it down. And a woman came over the intercom and said, "Excuse me, ma'am, but your baby has pooped in the tube." So then I would have to go up in the tube, get my baby, pull my baby down through the tube. Do y'all remember playing in the balls? My children love the balls, and little children would be playing in a dirty diaper, swim by on top of the balls. And then like a chicken nugget, they're going through.
Do you think it's easier to raise girls or boys? And people say boys. And we love our girls. We love our girls. I'll give y'all an example. I'll be in the pickup line, and I'm sitting in my minivan. All right, I'm watching them come out, and they are in a good mood. I saw it. And they're goosing each other, and then they come over my minivan. Get in, shut the door. My 8th grader take her backpack, sling it, and hit me in the back of the head with it. Every day she says something like this: "I'm starving to death. You don't have a piece of cheese in this car? Your driving's making me car sick." And then my sweet boy would come out and say something like, "You know, they're building a new Home Depot up on 281. Okay, my sister and I took Dexatrim. When I was 17 years old, I'm the youngest. You could buy it everywhere. Do y'all remember Dexatrim? Yeah, it was speed. We took speed as a family. We would take Dexatrim and our heads would itch and we'd fight in the yard. My husband, tell me what this is.
Branded content. Merch. Outfit of the day.
It's just a sweatshirt. Getting older can be hard. For women especially, it can feel like you're supposed to stay young forever. My job is to help women ignore that feeling and embrace their age.
That fit drips.
Okay, Carol, you can just tell her that she looks nice.
Ooh.
No! She could have thrown her back out.
What's up, Ruth Arnett?
Ruth, who is this for?
Hey, followers?
Oh, my Lord. Okay, let's just, honey, focus on the workout.
No,
Ruth.
It can take time for the lessons to sink in, but I know I'm making a difference.
Can we do this?
Oh, no, Cindy. That's a child. You are a...
Grown-ass woman?
Exactly. That's just what we need. Very nice.
Laura Geller can't help you act your age, but we can help you own your age.
Okay, now we work on that hair. I can be in the pickup line at school, and this happened when they were in 1st grade, and it happens every day when I pick them up at school now. I'm sitting in the pickup line, and I can see them come out, and they are in a good mood. And they're goosing each other and giggling and doing and talking and having a good time. They're waving to the teachers and the principal. See you tomorrow. Okay. Then they come over to my vehicle. My 11-year-old take her backpack and sling it and hit me in the back of the head with it. Every day she says something like this: "I'm starving to death. You don't have a piece of cheese in this car? Your driving's making me car sick." The people that got to open for me were darling, but they're all young boys that love the weed. And they've explained to me the strains, that there's different strains, and I didn't know that. And so I get out with my children in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we walk around to go eat, and I smell something. I go, "Who's boiling that cabbage?" And they say, "Nobody's boiling cabbage, Mom. That's weed." So it didn't smell like that in the 80s. Let me tell y'all about her. I have treated her different from all the other ones, honey, because All right, everything that she'd do, like she'd start crying when she was a baby, because babies, you know, the third, fourth, and fifth, you know, they cry, and you just let them. And I'd be like, what's she crying about? She wants your toy? Well, just give it to her. I can't deal with it. I remember saying, I swear I remember saying one time, you want those knives to play with? Okay. What? Okay. When she was at getting her driver's license, so different from when the first one got his. Honey, he got his, and we were so strict with him. We'd say, you can go to school, but you got to call us when you get there. You can only come home. And then after 6 months, we were like, you can go to Steak and Shake. And then you got to come home. So strict. Then the second one didn't care anything about driving, really didn't start till she was close to 17. Well, this baby wanted hers the day she turned 16. I didn't think she was going to pass it because she doesn't care. So, but she did because she's smart. All right, let me tell you, she's one of those kids that, I know y'all know people like this. Like if I gave her $20 and said, make it to New York tonight, she would do it and have money left over. Like she's, you know, people like that, like got it up. Okay. So she passed that test. I was so mad because I thought, oh, I'm not going to have a baby in the car with me anymore, even though when they're in middle school and high school, isn't that aggravating? When they turn that radio up and it's blasting and I don't like that song and booming and a-doing. And then I'm trying to drive and I feel like when I can't hear, I can't see. Oh, I don't know. It's awful. But she went and got that darn driver's license, and this is how different it was raising her from the first one and the second one. She got that driver's license. My husband and I were sitting there at night, and he said, where is she? And I said, I don't know. And he said, does she have any money? And I said, I don't know. Nobody ever said another word. I'm in love with my girls. I'm in love with them, and they're my best friends, especially as they get older. And I know that when I'm in the nursing home, they'll be the ones to come and pluck my chin hairs. But he has been from heaven. Okay, it's so wonderful. All right, well, he got married in September, and when he started bringing his wife around us, he would say to me, you have a terrible look on your forehead. And I would say, what? I don't know what you're talking about. But he said, Mom, she's my best friend, and I want to marry her. They met in college at Berry College, and he said, she's going to be my wife. And so I tried to, it wasn't anything against her. It was anybody that was going to come in and take my boy, because he's the best thing that's ever, all right, he's like the best of their daddy. He's like everything their daddy can't be. Does that make sense? So right before the wedding, he said, Mom, she is my immediate family now. You're my extended. I'm supposed to cleave to my wife. That's biblical. And I said, why did I show him the Bible? But they had a beautiful wedding, and really, when I got in there and the Holy Spirit was there, and God was in it, and I knew they were supposed to be together, and I love her. I mean, I love her. She's like another daughter to me now. And but I was freaked out. But everything is okay now. And then I got to thinking, how psycho am I that I want to keep him forever and have him live in the basement and be a weirdo? You know, that's twisted. So I was able to let him go. And I love her. She's like another child to me. I've got too much estrogen, which evidently makes you hateful and bitter and angry. And so I sweat all night, just like I've done jazzercise in the bed all night. And I wake up, I've got sweat right here in the back of my head. My head just looks like fuzz in the back. And my husband, okay, so I put it on 67, and he says, I can see my breath, and that's a lie. But he's having to wear pajamas for the first time in our marriage, and we've got 2 beagle hounds that we're in love with because his children are gone. And so we've got a big one, and he takes the big beagle and spoons the big beagle at night. And I've got the little beagle, the little pocket beagle that we rescued, and she's got a nervous tick and eats our furniture and our fabric like a goat. But anyway, they sleep in the bed with us, and the bed is so nasty. Okay, so the little beagle, so he's spooning the big one. The little beagle backs her little butthole up to my head. And sleeps up against me all night. I love her. And in the morning, I can hear my husband when he gets up, he's kissing that big beagle and he's going, and I'm so thankful. The only thing about having them in the bed, really, is I tried those eyelash extensions. I paid a lot of money for those, but beagle hair would end up in them, and it itched real bad, so I had to let them fall out. But anyway, he came to me in, he was in middle school or high school, and he's very spiritually mature, has always been. I didn't do it. Their daddy didn't do it. God did it. But we call him our little Billy Graham. But anywho, so he was dating a little girl, and he came home, and I said, what y'all been doing? And he said, we've been watching a movie, and we were kissing. I said, oh, that's normal. That's okay. But I said, baby, before you know it, one thing can get out of hand. You got your arm around somebody, and then you got your hand on her leg. Things can get out of control. He looked at me like I was crazy. And he said to me, Mom, I've prayed about this. Nothing like that's going to happen. And I know he meant that. And all I could think of to myself was some of the nastiest things I ever did. Was at the Adams United Methodist Youth Fellowship. On a hayride. I don't know what it was about hay that set me on fire. I wish it did now. I could get a new purse out of that. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Youth groups. And we've all, here in the South, we've all been raised in church, Did y'all ever go to a lock-in? What little fool came up with that? Y'all know that it was some precious little woman maybe, and they were like, they were in a committee meeting, and she was like, oh gosh, y'all, we need to come up for something for all the hormonal teenagers. I know. We'll put them in the church building and lock the door and turn the lights out and leave them there all night. Maybe somebody will end up pregnant. And I tell you, for you little mamas out there, you young mamas that are going through, got a bunch of little children vomiting in the carpet, peeing in the closet. When you're trying to pee and they like slide ham under the door and say, "Can you open this, Mom?" I know what y'all want for Mother's Day. Y'all want an Ambien and a hotel room. I hope y'all get it. I hope y'all get it. When you get to be my age, and I'm 51 years old, honey, you beg your little children to come home and be up your butthole. I beg them and try to hold money over their head. All right, but they're all home. I'm so thankful, so grateful. Okay, y'all, we got a big night ahead of us. Y'all are precious. I want to talk to y'all about, because I am 51 and going through hormonal changes. Okay, I am with their daddy, and these children all walked off and left me with him. And he's so not fun. And he can't help it. He's that way because he has to make a living for all of us. And he's got a lot on us, and all the money's going out the window. And, because we got 2 in college, we just had 1 get married. But he and I are having to adjust being together for the first time in how many years, before we got married. And so he sends me emoji, kissy faces, and stuff like that. But I am low on progesterone and testosterone. He's low on testosterone, praise God. I'm in love with my girls. I'm in love with them, and they're my best friends, especially as they get older. And I know that when I'm in the nursing home, they'll be the ones to come and pluck my chin hairs. But he has been from heaven. Okay, it's so wonderful. All right, well, he got married in September, and when he started bringing his wife around us, he would say to me, "You have a terrible look on your forehead." And I would say, "What? I don't know what you're talking about." But he said, "Mom, she's my best friend, and I want to marry her." They met in college at Berry College, and he said, "She's going to be my wife." And so I tried to. It wasn't anything against her. It was anybody that was going to come in and take my boy, because he's the best thing that's ever, all right, he's like the best of their daddy. He's like everything their daddy can't be. Does that make sense? So right before the wedding, he said, "Mom, she is my immediate family now. You're my extended. I'm supposed to cleave to my wife. That's biblical." And I said, "Why did I show him the Bible?" But they had a beautiful wedding, and really, when I got in there and the Holy Spirit was there, and God was in it, and I knew they were supposed to be together, and I love her. I mean, I love her. She's like another daughter to me now. And but I was freaked out. But everything is okay now. And then I got to thinking, how psycho am I that I want to keep him forever and have him live in the basement and be a weirdo. You know, that's twisted. So I was able to let him go. And I love her. She's like another child to me. And we were going to learn the cha-cha, to Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I was going to kill it. Well, one night, he kind of flung me hard, and I thought, oh, something popped. And something doesn't feel right. The next morning, I woke up, and there was this big bulging thing about right here. And I called my girlfriend in Greenville, Tennessee, and I said, I think I've got backed up poop. And she said, because I have trouble with that. But she said, I don't think poop goes up that far. And so she looked on her iPad on WebMD, and she sent me this picture of this man looked like an alien coming out of him. She said, is that it? And I go, that's it. She goes, you've got a hernia. So I went to my doctor, and they said, we can't push this thing back in. And so the thing was in 5 days with the Children's Hospital, and I didn't want to let them down. And I thought, Lord, what are we going to do? And my girls stepped in and learned a dance in 4 days. Bless their hearts, and they were practically nude. And they had to wear all that too. And I came out in a wheelchair to Proud Mary Keep On Turning. Thank you. And it all turned out good. The girls did that dance. You've seen that video from a long time, from the 60s with Tina Turner, and they were doing that dance. You know, it looked like car wash, something going through. Y'all seen that? And you know that Ike probably whipped her in a cocaine rage before she hit that video. So I thought, if she can do it, I can do it. But you know, let me tell you, it ended up a wonderful thing. We raised a lot of money, and it was a blessing. And this blessing came out of it. Let me tell you, my husband found out about the cuddling program, and he is a baby cuddler. He cuddles drug-dependent babies every Wednesday night in Children's Hospital. Thank you. Thank you. That is so sweet. He didn't help me with mine, but that is so... It's because he's out making a living. But anyway, what I learned out of that whole hernia thing was that God forbid that I got sick with something bad. Because I truly believe that my husband and my children would let me die. That's what I learned out of that. I laid up in the bed for 3 days and nobody checked on me. I remember hobbling over to the stairs and yelling down,